absolutely batshit or ape shit. Take your pick. Hello everybody, welcome to Primetime Mitch, and today we are going to be talking Primate. This is a Paramount movie directed by Johannes Roberts, and I don't really know much about him other than the fact that he directed 47 Meters Down, and in particular 𝐒𝐿𝐷, which is actually a little guilty pleasure of mine. And I know he'd also been involved with VHS 99 in one of the segments there as well, so I don't really know a massive amount other than maybe one or two. So I was interested going into this as to what kind of movie we were going to see. Now, off the bat, I'm going to say there's going to be a couple of spoilers in this. It's not completely non-spoiler, but I want to get through the stages of this movie so I can talk about them. So if you haven't seen this film, please put this in the bookmarks, watch it, then come back and see what I have to say about it. If you want to see a short review with no spoilers, go to my social media page, Instagram and TikTok. There is a little video there where I briefly run down what I think without giving anything away whatsoever. And as ever, please hit that like button, that subscribe button underneath. I'm almost to 1,000. I really appreciate all your support this year and all the ones before, so keep punching your ticket for the Primetime Mitch train, and here we go with Primate. So the premise in a nutshell is you've got an opening scene where a doctor goes into the enclosure of this chimpanzee named Ben, and there's obviously something wrong with this chimp, and it's got a wound on it, and he ends up doing something very unpleasant. And then we cut to 36 hours later, and this is where you sort of get a bit of a cliche here, where you got Lucy, who is traveling with her friend Kate to see her father in Hawaii. He's an author. He has this incredible mansion on the mountainside. It's like a dream home. And Kate has invited along Hannah, who Lucy really isn't that fond of, and you think, you know, she's telegraphing that she's going to be a bit of a problem further down the line. I think I actually whispered to Amy during the movie she's going to be the first one to go. And they meet a couple of goofs on the plane, and a lot of this is kind of very typical, you know, oh my god, my dad's away the whole weekend, we're going to get shit face and the party and all that sort of stuff. So it's been seen before, but it never once tells you it's going to be any different. This movie is exactly what it says on the tin, as I said in my short review. So they get there and you find out that Lucy's father Adam is deaf, and it's all sign language, and it's quite a nice way of sort of setting up some atmospheric scenes later on. You know, the quiet and the lack of awareness. It's you sort of almost have that claustrophobic feel. You get that communication with the chimp as well. It actually works with the animal to be using the sign language. It's a really good idea to cast 𝐶𝐄, who is himself deaf, in this role, and I think he does a really great job in this movie. And he's got to go away and do a big book signing, and he's been pressured into leaving his daughter alone with her friends, so they're there to keep her company, and Nick's there to probably get himself some of Hannah, who he is getting very close to, and Lucy's getting very jealous. So that's kind of your Dawson's Creek moment in this movie. Things take a turn when you realise that the happening at the very start has happened, and the playful chimp that Ben was is no more. And I think what they do well here is they don't give you too much of Ben as the nice chimp, because then it becomes a little tragic and you feel bad for him, and you get all the emotions come out that you really don't want in the horror. You want the horror, you don't want, oh, this is such a shame. So they don't give you too much at the beginning, just a couple of playful scenes of him shaking hands and being nice, and then what happens. Now, without being too detailed, obviously Ben is let loose, and he is showing signs that he is rabid because he's been bitten by a mongoose that has got into his cage. One of the things about this movie is that it is known as a fact that Hawaii does not have rabies, and apparently it's also illegal to keep a chimp in Hawaii as well. I did not know that. So that plays into it, because it's almost like this is a shocking happening. It's not just something that happens every day. This is a bizarre occurrence, and that's always a nice foundation for a horror, I think. And Ben begins to terrorize this group of kids, and he's almost essentially like a serial, he's like a somebody put Michael Myers-esque monkey on IMDb, I think, and that's sort of what he's doing. Now, my gripes with this movie came when we got to the swimming pool scene, and there was like, oh, Ben can't swim, let's jump in the pool. So they get in the pool after he's bitten the leg of Erin, Lucy's younger sister, and they've got to get her to safety. So they all jump in the pool, and you've got Ben sat on the poolside watching them and waiting for them. And obviously Erin's injury is a reason why they don't just stay in the pool until somebody comes back to them. The phones are obviously all out of bounds. This is a bit where I kind of think the movie lost its momentum a little bit because they were sort of stuck in the water, and it was like, well, what's going to happen next? We need to get out and help her. They tourniquet her leg up as best they can. There's not an awful lot of blood after a certain point, which I think was somewhat unrealistic. The water was exactly the same colour. I'm pretty sure it would have been very, very murky by that point. They are trying to concoct ways of getting out of the pool, getting to the phones to try and ask for help. There's a very surprising death at that point, which I wasn't expecting to see, and you're then left with Lucy trying to get out of that pool. They're all falling asleep and they're hoping that he's gone when they wake up and everything. And I think the swimming pool scene did lose it a little bit momentum because it limited what they could do, and it almost felt a little bit far-fetched. I thought, well, if the three of you get out of that pool right now, I think you could probably somehow overpower him enough to get away from him and into the house and shut the door. But I guess that's just me being naive when it comes to, it's easier said than done. In that situation, there's a lot of panic. He's already caused a lot of damage. So that was the only thing that really griped me. And to be honest, there's not much more. I think there was a lot of occasions in this movie where they could have made really bad decisions, and instead it was just really bad luck. I always get vexed when it comes to poor decision making, stupidity. My God, that this whole movie's just been ruined by that one decision that nobody would have made. But this was just pure bad luck a lot of the time. There's a lot of good suspense scenes. In the closet, that was very Halloween-esque when they were behind the doors and he's stalking them and they're hiding behind the clothes. There's a lot of good chase scenes in here, some of the fight scenes, and this is where I want to talk about the excellent animatronics, practical effects that were used in this. Apparently, there's a lot of inspiration from the likes of 𝐒𝐿𝐄. The way that the ape was crafted using a real actor and the head was developed animatronically. I'm very, very impressed with this, and this is what I want from a horror movie, the effort being put in, and not just, oh, screw it, we'll throw it through the computer and put some CGI in there. They did a lot of really good work here. There is a good amount of gore. It's not always really in your face. There's a lot of dark scenes in this, but you can feel it. It's not so much that it is just a splatter fest. You can feel the pain and the nastiness that's going on because the chimp is so raw and vicious and feral and savage. Some of the things you can do with the jaw and with the peeling the skin off and the biting, it's just really well shot and never too overkill, never exploitative or anything. It actually is really subtly done, and I was very, very impressed with this. In particular, I think one of the goofballs that they meet on the plane meets his demise in a very satisfying way. And Troy Kurtzer actually apparently didn't want to see the prosthetics and the creation, the grisly creation. He wanted to see it first time on camera so his reaction could be real and genuine. I love little snippets of information like that because they make the movie better on a whole, and they also make you appreciate it more. I'll also say as well that some of these movies can fall flat at the end. They can leave you wanting a little bit more or going, oh, is that it? This one doesn't do that. We get a really solid conclusion, a little fake out as well towards the end, which is quite effective and well done. There's a lot of great scenes involving Adam because of his deafness that you can really get behind as being creepy and suspenseful, like when Ben is behind him in the room and you just can't hear a thing. You can't hear his movements, but you can see him in the shadows. Like when he's attacking Lucy and Adam is unaware, when he comes back to try and find out what's going on, he's just walking around the house oblivious of the carnage that's going on because he can't hear it. We get both sides of that so we can experience what it's like to be not aware of anything that's going on, not being able to hear, but then you get the reality on the flip side. So I really like that as well. I actually really like the very, very last scene as well. I thought that was quite smart and well done. Overall, I had a really good experience watching Primate. I really enjoyed the screening I went to. It was a nice atmosphere, and I really thank Paramount for giving me the opportunity to go and see it as well. I think the characters in this movie were strong. I think Johnny Sequoia is actually a very promising prospect, and I look forward to any future work she does. She was the protagonist, but she wasn't absolutely being followed, and it wasn't a big heroic journey for her. She was just hanging on, and a lot of her friends were trying their best to work with her. And even Hannah, who is teasing being an obnoxious character at the beginning, actually really becomes quite selfless and useful to the situation, and you root for her, which is a nice spin around. I think some of the dialogue at some point was questionable. I think when she's phoning up the guys, telling them to come and their brains out. I think that was a little out of character. Whether she was trying to make Nick jealous, I don't know, but it certainly wasn't working and wasn't the case. And I like the fact that that didn't go anywhere either. We didn't get this big romantic story throughout. We just got this tease of it, and then it's like there is more important things than you and him getting it on. So yeah, what I will say is absolutely do not sleep on Primate. Do not go and see it on the big screen. I think it's well worth it, the effort that went into this movie. It's a really solid creature feature as well as a solid horror. There's some nice little comedic bits dropped in there as well. If you are interested in this movie and you have one eye on it, put both eyes on it and go and see it when it releases. It is absolutely worth the wait. That is Primate, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. And even if you like monkeys, you will not be on this one's side. Thanks, guys, for your support. If you enjoyed that review and you want to see more like this, there is plenty down below. There's a couple of examples, and I will see you very soon.